someone who's not like you. And so you don't have to be. You don't have to be like someone else. You don't have to change your point of view. Be who you are, respect who you are, and respect your own beliefs, but also respect the beliefs of other people. Fear, and this is a big one, homophobia and transphobia. I like to give a little example. I worked with a sailor when I was at Oceana, and he had been in the Navy through Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He had been in for over 20 years. And so he had seen a lot, and he had had a lot of challenges, and he had just come to the command that he was at. And he came to see me because he was being so horribly harassed at this command. And the things that were being said to him and behind his back, and these very vulgar comments. He said he hadn't seen even when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was in place. And that's important because you may have someone who's at a particular command and can bring their spouse of the same sex to functions, to Christmas parties, and it's all wonderful, and then they go to a new command that's not as accepting. And so being aware that some people may have had different experiences at different commands and trying to be part of making your command more inclusive. There can be a lot of harassment and a lot of hostile work environments out there. And we want to do the best we can to understand that and support people in that. Can you as an ombudsman go to a command and change that? Certainly not. But can you make a safe space? Can you recommend counseling? Can you help someone get through a difficult time? Sure, that's what you can do. Something else which is called, I just found this out when I was putting this together, called the lavender ceiling, which has to do with people not bringing up issues surrounding the LGBT community because they're uncomfortable. So again, using the lingo that excludes, assuming people are straight, assuming that everyone is the same as you. And so therefore, not really including them, and I think about this especially as ombudsman, if you're talking about a deployment and all of your language is very gender biased, or if you go and say, oh, your husband did this, but because of your discomfort, you don't say your wife did this to a woman. So they're feeling excluded. They don't get the same exciting news about their loved one. And so you don't want to exclude people. You want to have the same level of excitement and inclusion for all people. You don't want to block them out of the excitement, right? They're part of the family. And you want them to feel like they're part of the family and the team. As far as dynamics of relationship, so I did put a little bit of social work psychology in here. A very renowned couples therapist, Dr. John Gottman, works with his wife. They're quite renowned. And what he talked about shockingly was that homosexual couples and heterosexual couples have the same problem. So what are some problems that people have in marriage or relationships? Pardon? Communication, absolutely. I mean, communication, money, what else? Who takes out the trash? Who vacuums? Who walks the dog, right? You're all going to have the same problems. Right? Where the difference comes in is sometimes through the lens that homosexual couples, lesbian or gay couples have to deal with it through. So am I dealing with moving to a new community, and is it a community that's not very accepting? So I've got to be, more in, that a person can't be out and be who they are. So there's a different lens, but relationship-wise, they have the same ups and downs. The important thing is that there's sometimes some social isolation, some stigmatism, things like that are coupled on top of the regular couple issues that a heterosexual couple would go through. So there's sometimes added pressure. There's often added pressure. And just being, yes? 5, okay. We're good. We're almost done. Perfect, thank you. All right, so I'm going to be a little bit quick about this then. So we're talking about what you can do, which is to be an ally. The word ally is someone who is heterosexual or cisgendered person who supports equal rights, gender equality, LGBT social movements and challenges, homophobia, and challenges homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia. Right? Sometimes people don't like to identify as allies because sometimes they are stigmatized against themselves. And so you can be an ally, you can be a friend. Again, this is also about knowing your own comfort level. Right? So be comfortable with where you're at, be comfortable with who you are, and be as supportive as you feel comfortable being. You can do that by listening, by being open-minded, by being willing to talk to people where they're at and with what they need, being inclusive and inviting LGBT friends to come to events, not excluding them. Sometimes people feel excluded anyway. Don't assume that all your friends and coworkers are straight. Stand up against transphobia, homophobia, jokes, biases that you hear. Confront your own prejudice and bias, even if it's uncomfortable to do so. I think that's really important. Why does this bother me? Why does this make me uncomfortable? Just thinking about that sometimes lessens it. And being honest, we all have these little prejudices and forethoughts that come into our head. When you have that, challenge it. What does that mean about me? So for effective communication, and I think this is really important, recognize the diversity of LGBTQ lives. Remember that these identities are part of other identities. You are not just your sexuality. Those are not the conversations any of us have all day, every day, is our sexual orientation, our gender orientation. Don't limit other people and put them in those boxes. There's a lot of other things. Do you like House of Cards? There, you know, we have so many other things that we belong to, and by putting these labels, we sometimes limit our interactions. The next one, which I'm not trying to open a can of worms with, but I think it's going to become more important, and it has to do with pronouns. And right now there's kind of a big push for people to identify with the pronouns that they're comfortable with. Now I have a list of pronouns. I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but if that were to come up, it'll be even more confusing if I showed you the slide. Just ask people, and if someone tells you that as a person they go by the pronoun they, their, okay, call them by it. There are a lot of pronouns that are being used right now in the LGBTQ community that are new, and right there, new and different words. That one works. For a moment we had it. But also understand that this is new for everybody. It's also new for the community itself, so it's okay to ask. It's okay to ask people about pronouns. You may never come across this right now, but my guess is in the future you will. So just to be aware that people, as they are becoming more fluid and less binary in their gender identification, tend to go by different pronouns. And it's okay to ask, and don't be dismissive about it. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong, and that's okay. I think that that's how we kind of all move forward. We're on the last one. Am I good? Okay. Sorry, I rushed through the end a little bit. But for an overview, just in dealing with people who are different from you, having to do with gender, sexuality, race, religion, anything, I think. Be respectful. Don't over-inquire about things, and don't under-inquire about things. If you wouldn't be okay with a stranger asking you this specific question, don't ask a stranger that specific question. If you would hope someone would ask something of you, ask that of them. And, you know, there's a very, very simple adage that goes along with that, but really thinking about that. Being aware of and addressing your own biases. What makes you uncomfortable? It's okay to have them. We all have personal biases. We all have favorite colors. Does that mean we don't like the other colors? No. But just address that. Why is that? Don't be afraid to ask appropriate questions of people. Appropriate. Intimate, personal, sexual questions are never appropriate to ask strangers at a business meeting. And I think the most important thing is don't be afraid to make a mistake, because trying is always better than ignoring. Someone feels included if you try, and if you get it wrong, you are saying, help me do this better. And who doesn't want to be understood better? And at the bottom line is we all want to be understood and to be respected as individuals. Does that make sense? All right, are there any questions? I apologize for the handouts or for the slides, but that's the best we could do. Thank you. It's okay.